Hello friends and welcome to this video on Authentic English, and in this video we're going to give you some tips which will help you in preparing for your ISC English Literature examinations. So first of all, there are no hard and fast rule which I can tell you have to follow in order to get good marks. Okay, I can just help you in writing good answers, and that can in some way help you in getting good marks. So first of all, it's very recommended and it's highly you know what to say, it's highly necessary that you must have read your original texts. You must have read the stories, the poems and the play or the essays or whatever is coming in your examinations. Just reading the summaries according to me is not enough, but if you don't have time you can just read the summaries. However, to perform better you must have knowledge of the original text. You must have read the play in full. You must have had read the stories in full, the poems in full, and you must understand that if you're given some lines from the story or the poem or the play, you're able to just pinpoint it, like where is it taken from, how you can analyze it, etc. So all of this knowledge, because this same book was given to you for 2 years, so 2 years is a long time. However, if you have not read the play or the stories or the poems until now, then that's okay too. Here are some tips which will help you in you know preparing for exams and writing good answers. So if you don't have much time left now and you have not read the original text, read the summaries. My YouTube channel has all the short stories, all the poems, and summaries and analysis of all the scenes of The Tempest. Just go to my channel's playlist, find the playlist called ISC short stories, ISC poems, etc., and you can just quickly watch all the videos which and of all the stories, all the poems, and get a good understanding. You can just watch my videos back to back, and all the videos will take around 5 to 6 hours for you to watch, and your English literature will get cleared up to a certain extent. Now first of all, you don't have to write the summary of the story or the poem in every answer. Try to answer what is asked in the question. Like if they're asking you, what do you think of the character's nature, so you have to just answer that question. Like you have to give instances from the story or the play where you can pinpoint the nature of the character, like he's a good person or a bad person or he's greedy. Just support it with some examples if you remember any. Okay, a good answer is to the point. Don't write unnecessarily and don't be repetitive. You don't have to write anything that is not asked in the question. To answer short questions, especially ones asked from the play The Tempest, read the locations of all scenes and keep them in mind. It is highly recommended that you read the play in full. So for The Tempest, it's recommended that you must have read the play in full, because they'll ask you questions like where is the scene taking place, and who's the speaker, and what's the speaker's attitude to the listener, etc., etc. So it's recommended that you read the play in full. If you have not, just read the summaries very well. And to people who brought the PDFs that I was giving for 150 rupees, it had really good summaries and analysis of The Tempest, and of course good revision guides for the stories and poems. Don't just write a summary in long answers. Think about what's in the story or the poem and write on it. For example, the story The Sound Machine is about loving trees on one level. So your answer should discuss this point by giving an example from the text. So when you are asked to write long answers, the 20 marks answers, don't just write the summary of the story in those long answers. You need to write what is asked in the question, and you have to give examples and write a nice and beautiful essay. For example, if you're asked to analyze the sound machine, you have to discuss things like the themes which are in the story, and one of the themes is to love trees, and you have to support it by giving examples from the text. Learn few important lines from the stories and poems, if not all, at least the ones that have a high probability of coming this year, and quote them in your answers. Of course, this is something very important, and that will come only if you've read the stories and poems. You must know by heart some lines from the stories or the poems, which you can use as quotations in your answers to prove your points. For example, you want to write an answer like the spider and the fly is against flattery, so you quote two lines from the poem just to prove your point. and your work is done. This will add emphasis to your answers, and you don't have to do this all throughout the answer. Just 2 lines for one answer is enough. One long answer, in fact, I'm talking about. You're not going to be able to do this in short answers. Okay, just for one long answer. Keep track of your time and don't spend much time on one answer. This is also very important for scoring good marks, that you have to uh, don't spend much time on one answer. And of course, it's very important that you read the questions fully. Read the question at least twice. Many people read the questions very quickly. Many students just read it, just go over it, and then they don't answer the question completely and they lose marks. Read the questions very thoroughly. Think logically and answer. Don't answer before reading the question twice. Read the stories well, then the summaries. In poems, the ideas they present in them are very, very important. So read all the stories and then view their summaries, and then the ideas present in the poem are very important. It's not to know why did the author write a particular poem. Actually, I'm not well, so I'm not able to speak properly. So that's why I'm stammering a bit. You need to understand, like, why did the author care to write a particular poem, what message that poem is giving. And not all poems give out certain messages. Some poems are written just to highlight certain themes. So the themes in all the poems and the stories are very important. Do quote lines from the poem in long answers if possible. Of course, this is all optional. This is not something that you need to do. Never hurry in reading the question, as you may not be answering it fully. So don't hurry in reading the question. And I've of course made videos on how you can read or write good answers and how you can get good marks in literature last year also. I'm giving you a link in this I button above. Please watch it. Watch my YouTube videos on how to write good answers. Be confident and tell yourself you love literature and will do good in it. This is something very important. Tell yourself that this is just a literature exam, and literature is such a beautiful and a creative subject, and you are going to do good in it. So this is what my tips are. And of course, one more important tip, like after reading all the stories and poems, just don't sit back. You also need to read the summary. If you have read the original text, then of course go for reading the summary of them, so that you don't miss any important point while writing the answers. So these are my tips for writing a good answer, and I hope that they're going to help you a lot. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and bye bye.